see? Because there's space over here. Instructors, how we doing? We ready? We got everybody? Deborah, you got all 300 people you brought? All right, is everybody from Patagonia here? Is everybody from Wave Carpenter here? Is everybody from Desert Shadows here? Is everybody from Patagonia here? Is everybody from Patagonia here? Is that it? Is that it? Is everybody from Calabasas here? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2023 Santa Cruz County South 32 Technolochicas Conference. We're extremely happy to have you here. I want to start off. My name is Cruz. I work in the Santa Cruz County School Superintendent's office with Alfredo Velasquez, who's going to be speaking here pretty quick. And I've had the luck, I've been fortunate enough to work with this program for the past 6 years, and it's just awesome how big it's gotten. And this is by far the most people we've had at this conference, so thank you so much for that. Instructors, where are you at? Could you please stand up, instructors? Instructors, round of applause for our instructors. There we go, thank you guys. All right, I want to start off by thanking the group that makes this all possible and has funded us for the past 5 years for doing this. South 32, thank you so much for supporting the Technolochicas. Thank you for supporting the conference. And this isn't the only initiative that they fund for our educational system, so thank you so much for being. I also want to thank our host school, Patagonia. Kenny Hayes, Superintendent, thank you so much. Kenny is an Oakland Raiders, or whatever they are now, Las Vegas Raiders fan, but that's okay, we still like it. All right. I also want to thank Zigma Consulting. They'll be doing the robotics. Thank you so much for being here. I want to thank, I don't know if there's anybody from Empire Machinery. Is anybody here? Okay, so once we break out, you guys are going to do some cool stuff with a simulator and an excavator there. That's from Empire Machinery. They work out of Tucson, so thank you to them. Who else? I would also like to thank Ms. Jennifer St. John, the county manager. She is the one that allows us to do things. She approves the funding for this, so she's just a person. And so thank you very much for being here. I would like to thank We Love Nogales. If Darlo is here, he's going to be taping the whole thing. It's going to be on Facebook, so you guys can watch it later. And also I'd like to thank Lisa and our Technolochicas for being here. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We listen to a lot of them, so I'm not going to say too much about them. But thank you so much for being here. And you're going to see, especially for one of the students that's going to talk, you'll see the inspiration that you've had of these young girls. So thank you so much. And then our mediator today will be Sonia Sanchez. So the first person that's going to speak is that man right there in the white shirt, my boss, so be nice to him. He's the Santa Cruz County School Superintendent, Alfredo Velasquez. He's been... I've been fortunate enough to work for him for over 6 years, and he's been on this for over 16 years, if you can believe that. And he does a great job, an incredible job of implementing countless programs like Technolochicas, like robotics into our county schools. So thank you very much, Mr. Velasquez, and please come on up.
Ya no.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And like I said, Merry Christmas. You know, it is Christmas. What a gift to have all of you here. And it's something that's very special. You know, to see all these girls, young girls and young men, be in a STEM program is amazing. And the possibilities that you have ahead of you in becoming future leaders in our community or across the country, as you hear from our Technolochicas representatives here. It's all in the palm of your hands, and you have that to make in life. It's yours if you want it. Future doctors, nurses, astronauts, engineers. You know, it's endless. I want to share a story. I have been dealing with a lot of back pain, and I couldn't walk very well. I'd had surgery, and unfortunately I was hit by a car, and the thing in my back was broken in half. So I went to a doctor, and what modern technology can do, I have a battery in my back. I have an app on my phone, and I have 2 coils going up my spinal cord. And that's what helps me walk and live without pain. And someday, one of you is going to invent something that big and make you someone very special around the world. You're already special. You just need to take it to the next level. So I want to thank Mr. Young for organizing and planning this event every year. I want to thank Superintendent Hayes for hosting it. I want to thank South 32 for always being there for us. And it means a lot to have your partnership. She's a role model, and both of them are role models. 3 ladies, please stand up. Mrs. Maltez has been a partner with us with consulting work at Technolochicas and robotics. We just finished a robotics tournament. And Lincoln School took 2 of the trophies, you know. And Patagonia, where's Patagonia? Patagonia took 1 of the trophies for first place too. So, I want to thank Mrs. Maltez for her leadership. Our county manager has been there for many years with Santa Cruz County. She's an expert in finance. She's leaving, and she's been instrumental in working with the Santa Cruz County School Superintendent's Office and all the educational communities. There are words to thank you for all your support. Ms. St. John, thank you. And then you have Ms. Lawson, who came into this place a couple of years ago with South 32. And there's another role model for you. You know, you have Ms. Canto, who's a superintendent at MUSD, and these young ladies, you know, that are going to be making a difference and also talk about what they've done. So I want to thank you for what you've done and the example that you set. Mr. Valdez, thank you. I want to thank Sonia, our Ms. Sanchez, for being the mediator. And I want to thank our special guest. But most importantly, have a great time today and enjoy. And, you know, we look forward to all the stuff that you're going to be doing. To the instructors, your passion. I can't thank you for that because it's in you. And no one can give it to you. It comes naturally. And it's your calling. And thank you for empowering these students to become something phenomenal in the near future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Velasquez, for those kind words. Our next speaker is someone local, someone from here. She grew up in the Little Red School District, and we are extremely happy to have her here. Now she works for South 32, and she's the manager of underground development. Please put your hands together for Angela Watt.
I would describe myself, let me make sure this works, as a cattle rancher. I'm also a middle child from a family of 6 kids. I'm also a rock collector. Too many boxes, shoe boxes full of rocks as a kid. And I'm a nerd. The significance of today's date is not lost on me. And I saw at least one person that had a yellow shirt, so I know there's at least one other person in this audience. Except that's there. So while in school, I was involved in sports and clubs, and they taught me life skills, and they gave me experiences, gave me opportunities to travel and team up with other people that weren't necessarily in my classes. So I would also describe myself as a second baseman, as a point guard, as a drum major, as a mathematics, engineering, science competitor, as a 4-H'er, and as a future business leader of America. These are things that I did while I was in school outside of academics that made what I did fun and gave me lots of experiences. I also attended many of the same schools that you have attended, or that many of your family members have attended. So I'm proud to say that I am a Little Red School Mustang. I'm also a Lincoln Lion. I'm a Wade Carpenter Eagle. And I'm also a Desert Shadows Lion. I'm sorry I couldn't attend every single middle school. But I did attend those two. I'm also a Nogales Apache. And I'm an Arizona Wildcat. So I earned my college degree, and I am a mining engineer. I'm a mining engineer who has worked more than a mile underground. So this picture here is a little bit fuzzy, but that's the sign behind me that says 6,780 feet below surface, or 2,608 feet below sea level. It's hot down there, it's wet down there, but we can do it. This is what technology has allowed us to do, is to be able to mine that far underground. I'm also a mining engineer who has worked in Australia. And I'm also a mining engineer who now works for South 32, right here where I grew up. As an engineer, I'm a professional problem solver, and I love doing that. It's what I love about my job. And in this role as a mining engineer, I get to work underground, which is exhilarating, and it gives me the enjoyment of finding better ways to produce the metals that the world uses. Better ways meaning doing it safer, finding more efficient ways to do it, and more sustainable ways to do it. So what does somebody in my role do? So the main responsibility of an underground development manager is to build a network of underground tunnels that are designed to access a metal-rich deposit, to be able to extract those metals. That's done by hiring people. So I get to hire people to do that job. I also get to select the equipment that is best utilized to do that job. I need to understand the ground conditions, because not understanding those ground conditions can really stall you. Things like what type of geology, how does that geology interact with water, and what fractures are there underground. Also, ensuring that the rock is properly supported and that the tunnels stay open and are safe to work in. So this picture off to the right-hand side is a piece of equipment that is installing ground support in an underground tunnel after that tunnel has been blasted and the rock has been removed. You can't tell from this picture, but that's an enormous tunnel that's about 2 stories high. These are the sort of tunnels that are excavated underground that are part of the role that I have. It's also my role to ensure that there is plenty of good quality air underground for everybody to breathe, and especially after we use explosives to blast open the tunnels, to be able to ventilate out the bad air before people can re-enter. It's also my role to optimize the excavation sequence, to absolutely make sure that all of that work is done safely and that nobody gets hurt, and to complete that work on schedule. And there's aspects of this that the way that we find improvements is by looking to technology and implementing new technologies to be able to do these things better, faster, cheaper, safer. So there's many roles in the mining industry, and they use a variety of skills. So here behind me are a selection. I know some of them have font quite small. Go ahead and just read through a few, see if you that catch your eye. These are jobs that are commonly needed in mines, and many of these jobs support my role, and we work together as a team. But you don't have to work at a mine to be part of the mining industry. The mining industry is extremely broad. There are many supporting companies that mines rely on and they couldn't function without. 3D software designs, public health and safety specialists, EMTs, medical professionals, security professionals. So, there we go. So if you're wondering how you can set yourself up for success with the technical roles that are listed here or similar technical roles that you're excited about, let me share with you my philosophies for success. First, taste test. When you go to an ice cream shop and there's 31 flavors staring at you and you don't know which one to choose and you're trying to figure out what's the best one for me right now, what do? You taste test. And you probably don't taste test just one. You probably ask for the second spoon and the third spoon. Do that with career ideas. Get exposure to a variety of career directions. Find out what you like and what you don't like, and then keep honing that. That's why you're here with Technolochicas. You have an interest in technology. I'm not doing great with this, though. There we go. You have an interest in technology, and so get out there and actually try the different things that are offered and the options that are available to you. Number 2, get out of your comfort zone. Have you ever traveled to a destination? It could be Tucson or Hermosa or maybe someplace in the Santa Cruz County area that you just haven't been to before. And you notice how quickly your observations start filling your senses, and you learn and you grow very quickly as you're taking in those observations because everything is new and different. You need to recreate that same experience for yourself in different environments by doing it often and getting out of your comfort zone. So try those new experiences, and they can help you develop different skills, and it helps you learn your strengths and weaknesses. So, little story, 1 year in high school, I had the great idea of I'm going to take an auto mechanics class because I'm going to be driving a car soon and I want to know how that car works. So I went to class on the first day, walked into class and felt very uncomfortable because I was the only girl, probably ever, to take that class. But I stuck with it for the entire year, and I learned so much in that class that probably many girls of my age did not know once they had graduated high school, may not have known even going into other aspects of their life. But understanding how mechanical equipment works and what is required to maintain it has really benefited me, both in personal and professional life. So taking those opportunities, finding yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, but realizing the benefits to them, stick with it and stay out of your comfort zone. And third, aim high. So I think this quote says it simply: if we aim high and we fall short, we still achieve more than by aiming low and still falling short. So you never really know how much you can achieve until you push yourself. and you try. I'm going to tell you, you will fall short, and you will fall short often. But that's your advantage, because you actually learn more from those times when you fail and whenever you succeed. Think about it in terms of when you play video games. You try all the things that don't work, and you learn the lessons from that. And then you try again, based on what you just learned from your failure. From that, you level up. It's the same with life. That's how you level up in life, is by trying, aiming high, and learning from your lessons. So, I'm going to go back to ice cream, because it's almost summer. Number one, first, taste test. When presented with options, test out a few, and then pick one, and try it. But feel free to change your mind, too. You don't have to stay with these for the entire rest of your life. What does this mean for you as a Technolochica? It means join more clubs. When you attend career fairs or events like this, actually go to every single table and learn something that you didn't know previously. And you might find a spark that carries you through later in life. So taste test, check Technolochicas taste test. That would be my first piece of advice. Number two, get out of your comfort zone. In the case of this ice cream analogy, if you were going to the ice cream shop in the first suggestion and couldn't pick out the flavor and do taste test. In the second example here, maybe you try something completely different. You go for an ice cream cake, or you go to a different ice cream shop. But how does this relate to you, Technolochicas? This is so I'm having technical difficulties here. Okay, I'm just going to go with, so the second one, how does it relate to you in terms of getting out of your comfort zone? This is where it's important to take a class that interests you, that your friends aren't enrolling in. And whenever you are interested in a career that an adult that you admire who's not a family member, actually take the initiative to go and ask them questions about their career choice, how they chose it, and what did they try before they found out that that's what they wanted to do. Get out of your comfort zone. That feeling of a little bit of nervousness, that's a good thing. That's where you learn, that's where you grow. And then number three is the aim high. So in the ice cream analogy, taste test, whenever there's a lot of options in front of you, feel free to take the initiative and try something different with an ice cream cake or going down the street to a different ice cream shop. And the third is maybe you just make your own. Do something that's challenging. You might find that it's actually simple, delicious, and lucrative, and that you could actually open up your own ice cream shop. Taking that sort of an example and applying it to you, Technolochicas, how can you aim high? Aim high by applying for prestigious summer programs that give you a leg up, and taking part in leadership roles in organizations that you've joined. And feel free to get involved with the local job market, especially whenever you can take summer jobs, and stretch yourself whenever you are looking at career opportunities. So, it's a little bit about myself. Hopefully you see some similarities there. A little bit about my philosophy on success in terms of things that you can do even today while you're experiencing this Technolochicas Conference to taste test, to get out of your comfort zone, and to aim high. Try these things out every once in a while. And I think that you'll find that you'll really learn and grow and find yourself challenged. So thank you very much for having me today, and please enjoy your Technolochicas Conference today.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause, please, for Ms. Watt. Everybody likes ice cream, right? So this next one, So this one's even a surprise for me, but it makes me extremely excited. Okay? We're gonna have somebody who was in your place 5 years ago, come talk about her experience. Well, I don't know what she's gonna say. No bad words. All right? She's gonna talk about her experience and then what she's decided to do next year after she graduates from high school. So Mariana Montoya, could you please come up here?
Hello everyone, how are you guys doing today? Good. So I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about my experience and what I went through when I was in your place. Bear with me, I got a little excited and wrote a lot. But hello, good morning everyone. My name is Mariana Montoya. I am 18 years old and I'm currently a senior at Nogales High School. I would like to start off by saying how honored I am to be here speaking in front of all of you guys today. I would like to thank South 32 for having me, and the Technolochicas Club sponsors, Ms. Chanyal and Ms. Oaks, as well as the club overall for providing me this opportunity, and for allowing me to help out and volunteer with the program, and advocate the importance of STEM and STEM education. Personally, I was first exposed to STEM, aside from the usual science and math, school curriculum and coursework, throughout my academic journey in middle school through extracurricular activities. Since the beginning of my education career, I have always been a very ambitious and dedicated person and student. I've been and continue to be academically successful and call myself an overachiever, as many may say, as well as extremely involved in and out of school. For as long as I can remember, I have been an honor roll student at the top of my class, starting from A.J. Mitchell Elementary School, and Wade Carpenter Middle School, and well now Nogales High School, and still continues to this day. All throughout middle school, I was enrolled in honors classes and started opening up to the idea of trying new extracurricular activities, such as bands, mariachi, cheerleading, and so on. As I transitioned to high school, I kept up my academic standards, continuing to challenge myself, enrolling in all honors, advanced placement, and the most quote-unquote difficult international baccalaureate classes, as well as trying other new activities, like the track team, the wrestling team, cross country, along with many clubs like the Zonza Club, which I was president of this past year, and continuing my passion for music through mariachi. So as you can probably tell, I'm a very open-minded person. As a child, I always considered many different careers, all completely different from one another, like archaeology, criminology, and forensic sciences, medicine, etc. However, I had never considered doing anything in the STEM field until eventually getting more involved with programs and clubs in that area through school, as I mentioned before, which opened so many more options. What really sparked my interest in STEM was this exact club, Technolochicas. Yes, I too was one of you and was in your exact position 5 and 6 years ago in similar STEM trips and conventions. The concept of the whole program in general is what made me love it even more. A club to empower girls, whose purpose was to teach them about and encourage them to pursue different kinds of science, technology, engineering, and math careers, usually male-dominated areas. And make them realize everything they are capable of. Sorry. Through the club during my time in it, I learned the basics of coding and programming through online courses and experimented hands-on with different tools and kits. I eventually even got to meet a whole panel of real Technolochicas, women in STEM, telling their own stories, and I knew I wanted to be just like them when I grew up. In further aims of exploring this field, my freshman and sophomore years of high school, I enrolled in a 2-year elective course called Matemáticas, which teaches students about basic and advanced lab environments and how to acquire skills needed for these areas. I also joined the Math and Robotics Club, which put my critical thinking skills, creativity, and curiosity to the test, and further increased my interest in this field. After more involvement and exposure to STEM, I grew a passion for it. Currently, I still go back to my former middle school, Wade Carpenter, to help out with Technolochicas. I inform the girls of the importance of their involvement in STEM, teach them the basics, and share my knowledge and experience I have gained in the area throughout the years. This club definitely had a major impact in discovering my intended career and area of study, and I now plan to attend the University of Arizona to major in, right now I'm enrolled in computer science, but I may try some areas of engineering. And I'm super proud to have been a Technolochica and hope it continues to inspire many young girls as it did 12-year-old me, not knowing what was to come.
Another round of applause, please. Mariana, thank you so much. Wade Carpenter, thank you for bringing her. And that is exactly why we're here today. That is why the Technolochicas travel from all over the country. That is why the Spot spoke. That is why South 32 helps us with funding this. That is exactly why we do this. You're gonna make this guy, he's probably crying already. But that is exactly why we do it. So thank you so much. And congratulations on everything you've accomplished and will accomplish in the future. One more applause for it, please. All right, now for our special guest, Karen Saldana Stone. Sean, could you please come up? Laura Adeline Robles. You can say your name correctly. Alejandra Cortez Salazar. And then our mediator for today, Mr. Velasquez. Thank you so much.
All right. How's everybody doing today? All right. I don't think you guys are that good because I don't hear it loud. How's everybody doing today? All right. That's how it's supposed to be. So I am very, very honored to be here and be the mediator for these amazing Technolochicas. Who they were Technolochicas, right? And now they have amazing journeys that they took, and we're going to hear all about it today. So I really need you guys to pay really good attention because you guys have to ask questions afterwards. If it would be really awesome if you did, because they want to know what you want to ask them, right? I just want to thank Desert Shadows is in the house today, right? Woo! We have Wade Carpenter. Chicas, I'm going to ask you a question, and this question is going to be the same for all of you, and I'll just pass the mic, okay? So, can you please tell us about yourself, where you're from, your family, where do you work, and what do you do at your job?
Hello everyone, my name is Laura Robles. I am originally from Nogales, Arizona. I grew up here. I went to these schools as well, to Desert Shadows, and then I went to Nogales High School. And then I went to the University of Arizona, where I graduated in 2021, where I went to study computer science. And then after 2 years, I was still interested in technology, but I went through I kind of was thinking of changing, but still in technology, so I found this major called Cyber Operations, which is cybersecurity, basically how to defend and secure your system, prevent getting hacked, and that's what I majored in. And my family is from Mexico, from Nogales, and they still live here. And where I work at Caterpillar. It's the heavy equipment manufacturer, and I work in information technology. I analyze systems, and I'm part of a rotational program. It's called the Digital and IT Development Program, and it's a 3-year rotational program where every year I will rotate into a new team to learn more about the business as well as gain new skills in the IT space. And I'm in my second rotation. For my first rotation, I was in data analytics, working with machine learning and building algorithms to detect anomalies. And right now I'm in networking, and I'm working in the network firewall team, so creating rules to prevent from people getting to the right size, right websites that have the correct access. So back into security.
That is amazing, right? Give her a round of applause. Awesome. Wow. Now, I'm meeting from Nogales, and did I know that she is actually like my niece's neighbor and best friend? So I'm excited to see her. I hadn't seen her in 6 years. So how exciting. All right, so let's go with Ale. Ale, please tell us about yourself, where you're from, your familia, and where do you work, and what do you do at your job?
Perfect. Well, you can hear me well. Well, my name is Alfredo. I live currently in Monterrey, in the north part of Mexico. I do work for Microsoft as a cloud specialist. There, I design the infrastructure and requirements for our customers so they can face their challenges around analytics, data, or any other like technical requirement for the business. I have an undergraduate degree about mechatronics engineering, and I spent the first years of my professional career as a automation engineer in Siemens, a Germany company about technology. And after that, I moved to IT. For some people, it was like a big switch, but for me, it was just another technological area. And I think the main message that I will share with you is that you don't have like to put a label on yourself. You can switch, you can discover, you can get out of your comfort zone and try something new anytime you feel like you want to have something different in your life.
Great, thank you. That's amazing. Now we want to hear from Karen Sandan Shower. Same question. Tell us about yourself. Where are you from? Your familia. Where do you work? And what do you do at your job?
Hola, mi nombre es Karen. I work for Microsoft. I am from León, Guanajuato, Mexico, which is in the center of Mexico. And all of my family lives there. All of my grandparents, my aunts and uncles, all of my cousins, my parents, my siblings. And when I was down there, I had so many dreams. First of all, I always had loved to travel, but I didn't have the opportunity back then. I was in a community that was very humble, and I knew that my parents couldn't afford to take me to high school. I thought that the chances that I would finish college were almost none, just because there was no money, and it was just, I needed to work to help my family, right? But I had too many dreams, and I wanted to, I knew few people in my community that were able to finish college, and I thought, I want to go to college. I can see how these people that finish college have a great quality of life, and they are very confident, and they feel like they own the world, and I wanted that too, right? So then when I was 19, after some years of savings and having several jobs and going to high school, well, high school with scholarships, right, because I couldn't afford it. After years of savings, I had an opportunity to come to the US as an au pair, which is a nanny that take care of the kids in the house, and then in the evenings I was able to go to school. And eventually I went to the university. Well, I came to learn English. I arrived here at 19. No English, no money, no friends, no family, which I'm so glad to know that you all know English and you all know have your family here to support you. It's amazing. And then eventually I went to a community college because I couldn't afford college, right? But then I was able to transfer to the University of Washington and graduated 5 years ago. It took me a long time. It took me a while because I didn't know what to do with my career. What do I like? I like everything, right? And I had to taste. I had to taste all the different things. So I took a class in coding, I took a class on biology, chemistry, tried classes on psychology and economics. Just try it. See what you like, what you feel passionate about it. And I consider myself also an ambitious person, I have known what poverty is like, and I don't want that for my kids. And so I also was, it sounds bad, but I also wanted to find something that will allow me to have a good quality of life, and something that will allow me to travel. And I found computer science, and I love it. So I started working with Microsoft. And at Microsoft, you might think that we know the programs that we all know, Word, and we know Bing and Excel and all of this, but there are many other things that Microsoft does too. In my case, I work for identity, so every time you need an account and a password, so you need your username and password. For many of the services we use every single day, you are going through Microsoft without knowing. If you are going to order a sandwich from Subway, you create an account and a password, and you go to Microsoft. When you go to a hospital, you create your account to access the patient portal, right? And you go to Microsoft. You are going to order groceries from the grocery store. You are going to Microsoft. You don't see it because we're in the background, but my job is that. To work on identity systems, like my team and I, build the system and help companies. In my case, I am very pleased that my job allows me to travel all over the world. For example, there is a company in Brazil, or there might be a company in the Philippines, or there might be a company in Romania, or there might be a company in Portugal that they want to integrate with our technology, and if they are our VIP customers, and they say, oh, we have Karen. Karen can train your engineers so that you can onboard to our technology. And of course, Karen is going there very happy, traveling around. Yes, please take me to Portugal, and I will help them. Yes, it can be a work of being in the computer all day, but also it can be a job where you are helping others, making an impact, traveling, being able to have a remuneration that can help your personal side of life, but also my parents, right? At least in the Mexican community, I feel that I owe my parents to support them, to make sure that once they are viejitos, I care for them, right? And this allows me to do that too.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you. And I love that you mentioned it's so important to taste the flavors, like Ms. Watson. You know, there's 31 flavors, and we all have to taste, right? We have to taste because it's important. So you guys have to do that too. Remember, it's so important that you all, you're right now in middle school, right? So every time there's a career fair, or you know that there's going to be something, go check it out. Don't always remember that, because you'll learn. You do learn. And I think that's very important, Ms. Watts, because I do that. And I'm very sure you all will do it. So let's continue with the next question. This is super important, chicas, because we want these kids to be very motivated, right? So what motivated you to enter a STEM career? What was that passion you had to do there?
Well, what motivated me was, first, I always wanted to go to college, and my parents were always like, okay, like, we're gonna support you, and just trying being in clubs that, you know, like MESA, that took us to the U of A, and I got to see the campus when I was just a 6th grader. And it was like, okay, one day I can be here, and kind of start thinking and visualizing yourself in these places. Even though we're here in Nogales and we don't see the U of A, like being in these organizations and these clubs, and they take you to visit these campuses can help you visualize yourself in college or whatever job you want to do in the future. And why I chose STEM, I really chose it like really late it was like my senior year of high school, because I had kind of tried everything and I didn't feel like, oh, I want to do that, but I like it, but not enough, until I went into information technology class in high school, and it's like, oh, this is so cool, like we're learning about websites, I want to do this. And then I went into Cisco networking and computer maintenance, and I was like, oh, I'm not that a fan of hardware, but it's really cool to build a computer and see how everything works. And so I started researching what I can do, what I can study, and I found computer science and computer engineering, and decided to try it in college. And then once I started thinking like, oh, maybe I always wanted to do this, because I always like to play on the computer, be on games, or help people, like, oh, you can't get your password, this is how you do it. And I kind of until I started researching and finding these majors that would help me learn more skills and kind of build my own game one day, or my own product, or my own little computer. Wow. So that's how I got motivated.
Awesome. All right. So, same question, Ale. What motivated you to enter the STEM career? Because I mean, like Laura was mentioning, you know, she tried different things, right? She was like, well, yeah, I can try this, I can try that. But you have to try, right? You have to really want to discover new things and see if that's going to be your passion, or if that's the career you want to go to. So tell everybody here, how did you get motivated to get into this STEM?
Yeah. I think for me it was related to, I have always loved to understand how stuff works. For me it was just like, okay, how does this remote work? And I started to desarmarlo, and then I tried to put it all together, and some pieces were left. And it was just like, uh-oh. So my family decided it was better for me to have some Legos, so I can like do all this stuff without like making some descomponiendo some stuff in the house. So for us, like understanding how stuff works. But after that, I discovered that technology does really impact people's life, and I love it. I love it to put all this knowledge, all this information, all this research into people's life, improving the health, or maybe trying to enable some. Now you hear me? Yes. Or probably enabling some people with some disability. So for me, it was at the beginning to understand how stuff works, but after that, this knowledge, put all this information into people's life, to impact people's life.
Okay, great. So, and it is important because it does impact people's life, right? It does. All right, got it. So tell
So
us.
I tried everything, right? So then first I wanted to be a lawyer, because the one person I knew that was very successful and that I looked up to that person was a lawyer. So I said, oh, I'm gonna be a lawyer, right? And then I discovered that I didn't really know that much. So I was thinking I want to be a doctor, or I want to do a physician assistant, which is shorter, right? Doctor is 15 years, which is not bad, just longer. And then I go physician assistant. And when I was in the community college, I found out that I was struggling with biology. I was struggling a lot in that class with organic chemistry. There are classes that are, you know, they have, tienen su chiste. Entonces, I found out I was struggling a bit with that. I remember that one time, one of my professors, two of them, came and we were just chatting how I wasn't doing that great in that class. And so they told me, what are you good at? So like, I do well with math. And they said like, have you done, because where I live right now, there's a lot of computer science, so they told like, have you done computer science? And I have never considered it, right? Because I knew computer scientists, and they were all white, they were all male. And I just have never seen myself there, just because I didn't look like them. And I never considered that I could do it. So, didn't consider it to that point. So I'm really thankful for those teachers, those professors that told me that. And then also, you know, I started thinking, the few computer science people I knew, they have very flexible jobs. So now I am a mom. I have two kids. And back then I didn't have any kids, but I just hear from them. I mean, medicine is nothing wrong with medicine. Medicine is great. But, you know, I was thinking, someday I want to be a mom, because that's important for me. I have always wanted to. And if you don't want to be a mom, that's also fun. But in my case, I wanted to be a mom. And I was just thinking, I know that some doctors are on call, right? So they work weekends, they work nights. And I wanted a job that was flexible, and computer science gave me that. I work from home right now, but I work during the week. Sometimes you can be on call, but it's not very often. And it allows me the flexibility to take my daughter to daycare, right, before work. And it's just a flexible job. And not just that, with medicine, I will invite my patients, right? Maybe in the emergency room or whoever comes for consult. But with computer science, I have been able to impact millions of people. The service I work on, it receives over 3 billion requests per day. So can you imagine the amount of people that I'm impacting? That's the other thing. Sometimes when I'm on call, one of the times I was on call and a call comes at 3 a.m. and it's like the traffic in India is down. So then it's like, oh shoot, no, okay, so quick, the computer, let's move the traffic from India to a different country so they are able to authenticate and they're able to use the services they need to, right? And then in the day, we check out what was the issue, and after the issue is fixed, then I move the traffic back so that it goes to the data centers in India. So can you imagine the impact? And if I come up with a feature, if I come up with an idea, what I love about Microsoft at least is that even when I was a brand new graduate, and when I'm a female, and when I am a woman of color, my ideas have weight. And they took my ideas as it's a great place to work at. I have had a great experience.
Nice. That's awesome. Wow. So, what do you feel is the most important issue facing careers in technology today? I mean, there has to be, issues, but I know as how powerful we are, Technolochicas, right? We know we can face them. So, what are some of those issues that right now are happening in technology?
So when I arrived at Microsoft, that was my first job in the industry, and I arrived at a team where they welcomed me with, hey, you're the few woman we are going to work with, and so we're going to try your best, which is great, right? But I would say representation is very important. I would say that's one of the biggest, because if you're building a product that is for everyone, it's hard to put all the elements necessary for everyone to use it if it's only being built from a one type of person perspective, right? So you need people with different perspectives and different experiences to build a tool that is used for everyone. So we need the perspective of the women that are from the south of the United States, the women who speak more than one language. We need the women who know more than one culture to bring their perspectives and to bring their ideas so that the products that are being built are not just for a region, right? Or for a culture or for a language. We need more diversity in technology so that we build things that are innovative. And that's why we need you. And it's not just for software, it's for mining, right? What about, I might need someone who, the woman body usually can be shorter, right? Or we as Mexicans, we are a little shorter. So if the people who are working on these mines are making the routes for tall people, and the equipment might not fit me, so we need women in these industries so that we can build products and services that also fit us, right? We need to be there so that these jobs become flexible, because we don't just want to be engineers, we also want to be mothers. And we want to be sisters and daughters. So we need to bring that perspective so that these majors make a space for us. And I would say that right now, one of the issues is making that path, right? And I also feel that it's a little bit trying, because my first job, I just struggled. I didn't feel like I belonged there. So I had to taste different teams until I found a team where I feel respected, where I feel that I belong, where I feel that my ideas have weight. And I'm not letting that team go in a while. So I feel it's also in the workspace you need to try.
Exactly. That's true.
I think it's the same issue, and I'm going to talk a little bit about just going into college. So when I did the 2 IT classes at the high school, I was one of the few girls. There was other girls, and luckily me and this other girl, we went and studied computer science. So when I went to the U of A, I was like, oh, I know someone's with me. But she was in a different class. And when I went into my first computer science class, I think I'm in the wrong class. Because I had heard, oh, there's not a lot of women. I was like, okay. Maybe then. And I thought I was in the wrong class. I was like, oh, okay. And then the next day, the same, nobody else. And I was like, okay. There was a couple of us, there was a couple women, and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to talk to them and, you know, be friends with them and be like, okay, let's create a study group. We have to stick together and make friends with the other of our classmates that were male too, and talk to them, and kind of keep us motivated and encouraged to, because I didn't want to be by myself at the end of the year. And I noticed that, and I was like, okay, well, hopefully next year there's more women in computer science. And then when I changed to cyber operations, I saw the same pattern. I was like, okay, well, I did the same thing, talking to the other females, like encouraging them, like, okay, let's get together, study, and kind of get involved in Growth to Code, Technolochicas, to keep motivating younger girls and, you know, teaching them programming at a young age, so that when they get to college, they feel confident that they know the skill. Like, I've seen this before, because when I went, I didn't know programming. It was my first time, and that was a lot of the issue where I was like, I can't make it, I'm going to change. But kind of tell yourself, well, I'm here in school to learn, and I'm not going to be an expert, but I'm going to, every day that I come to class, I'm going to learn something new and practice it on the side with my assignments, with extra projects. And at the end of it, when I graduated, I was like, okay, I did it. And when I went to the workforce, I was again one of the few. And I just feel like it's very important that you go into this field, and even if you decide to change your major in college, you can find a career in technology, because there's so many skills needed in technology, such as being creative. You need to design, if you like to design websites, if you like artwork. We need people that know those, that have those skills, and don't feel like you just need to be a math expert calculating, because there's so many other skills that are needed in technology.
That's awesome. What do you think about that?
I think for me the main challenge in my country, in Mexico, it is machismo. There, it is kind of complicated to be like the expert in front of a lot of male. For me, when I was like a recent graduated, I went to a mining facility, and the person I was going to visit to check a mechanical stuff saw me, and he was just like, "Where's the engineer?" And I was just like, I am the engineer, and I'm your expert. And for him, it was just like a shock, and he was just like, no, probably you will have to come with someone else. And I'm sure that after some interaction with him, he realized that I was the expert. I did solve the issue, I did solve the problem that they were facing, and probably next time when he has another woman in front, he's gonna say, okay, she's the expert. So in my country, until now, I think it's machismo. It's like the main challenge that we as women are facing in the technological path.
Well, thank you. Great answer. And you know what? I feel like it's so important that you're sharing this, because you can't give up. You have, if you're in the passion of going through like the STEM and everything that IT, cybersecurity, everything that these chicas did, you guys can do it too. Remember, you can be there. You can be one of them, which you will be, but you gotta work hard. Remember what Ms. Watt said, get involved in clubs, get involved in learning a lot about whatever you can in school. Get into classes that you might be like, try it. It's good to try and learn. Because you know what? I know all of you will be there one day. I know, right? Because if you're here with this program, Technolochicas, that means that you will be like Mariana, you will be like Laura, Ale, right? And Karen. So don't give up, keep going. And there will be obstacles, right? But you can overcome them. We all overcome them. But you've got to really work hard at what you need to do, right? So I'm gonna ask them one last question, and I'm gonna open it up for questions for you guys to ask them, okay? So, being this the last question, what advice do you have for all of our Technolochicas in this audience? Can you tell them?
So I have like a couple of things.
Okay.
So well, the first one is to don't give up, because it's really easy to be like, oh, that's too hard for me, I'm not gonna do it. Because I went through that, and I learned it the hard way. You can't do that, because if you do that, then you're letting yourself down, and that's not okay. And if something's hard, you can do it. It's gonna be a learning opportunity, and it's gonna be a bump on the road. But once you get over that bump, you're gonna look back and be like, yeah, I did that. And then the next challenge comes, and you're gonna be like, I can do this, because you already went through something that was hard for you, but now you learn from that lesson. And so don't give up, and it's okay if you want to change or try new things, because I did it, and that's helped me see a different perspective. And when I changed my major, I was like, oh, like a little bit embarrassed, but in the end it worked out, because I went into cybersecurity, and everything that I had learned, even though I would cry and I was stressed, it worked out because it helped me in the end. I needed those skills that I learned in computer science for cybersecurity. And the other thing would be to listen to the advice that your teachers give you, other classmates. You might have friends that are already in high school that are telling you, like, you should join this, you should do this. Listen to them, because that's one thing that I have learned that I didn't do. I remember when I told people, like, oh, I'm gonna do computer science, and they were like, oh, you should do this boot camp online to get started in coding. And I was like, I'll get to it when I get to college. Well, I suffered the first semester because it was something so new that I had never seen, and I couldn't think I could grasp it and finish my assignments. And I felt in that moment, I was like, I should have listened, I should have done that boot camp, or I should have joined this club when they told me, and not wait it out. Because if you can start early, you're gonna be so ahead when you get there. And you being in this Technolochicas club, you're already 10 steps ahead of what's going to come in the future. So keep being involved in these clubs and listen to the advice that the other people give you. You might think, oh, I'll get to it, but take it in and take it and do it, because it's gonna make the difference in the end.
Awesome! I love that. So, you guys listen, you get involved. Remember, Mr. Velasquez, the Santa Cruz County Superintendent, Mr. Velasquez, he has a lot of summer camps. Y'all supposed to be there in our summer camps, because we have robotics, we have cybersecurity, we have so many things. So join us, because the more you learn, the more you're gonna want more, and more, and more. And guess what? When you know more, you're gonna be more trained in your mind, and everything you do, you're gonna be like, I already know how to do that. So what's my challenge now? You know what I mean? That's what you guys need to do. So, Ale.
You don't mind if I answer this in Spanish? Oh. Es importante para mí. Okay. Creo que mi consejo principal sería go for it. Va a haber un montón de gente que no va a creer en ti. Va a haber un montón de gente que te va a decir que es difícil. Va a haber un montón de gente queriendo de repente truncar sueños. No sé por qué. Así. Pero lo que es importante es que veas todo tu potencial, que veas todo lo que puedes hacer, que veas las mujeres ejemplares que tienes a tu alrededor y te inspires. Estamos acá para soportarnos una a la otra, y no importa cuánta gente te diga es difícil, no vas a poder, claro que puedes. Claro que puedes. Tienes una capacidad, tienes un potencial, tienes una inteligencia impresionante. Entonces no dejes que nadie defina tus sueños. Ve por lo que sea que te guste, sea medicina, sea ingeniería, sea arte, lo que sea, pero no dejes que nadie trunque tus sueños.
Thank you. Love it. Thank you.
imposter syndrome is that feeling that you are in the place you are because of luck, suerte, because of luck, or by mistake, or so you feel like an imposter. It's like, oh my God, I got to Microsoft. Seguro, le atiné. They haven't discovered that I'm actually not that awesome person I think I am, and I'm an imposter, you know? So I got here, but they haven't found out that I shouldn't be here. So that's imposter syndrome. And I have had that always. Like even just trying to go to the US. When I applied to this high school that it seems too high, but I applied, and the worst case was they were going to tell me no, right? So, but you get to one place and you feel like, well, I think that I'm a fraud, you know, un fraude. So that's imposter syndrome. And you usually get it when you aim high and you get it, and then you're there, but you're like, oh, I won't be able to do it. So that is something that we all have, and we have been seeing that many women have it. And I think that it's very important to know that it's not just for women and it's not just for Latinas, but it's for everyone. So when I got to Microsoft, I couldn't believe it. And then as I started talking with other people, and so at Microsoft, the place where I work, there is some brilliant people, amazing people, and there are some people who are checking the standards of how identity is done, and it just sounds all so brilliant. You talk to them and you're like, wow, I can't believe I work with these people, right? And then after you go with them for a lunch or for a coffee, you start talking with them more, and you can, like they tell you, I have imposter syndrome. You know, and it's like, how can you have imposter syndrome if you're like at the top of the game and you're doing these amazing things? And the reality is that we all have it. And I guess my advice is to try to be aware that you might have these feelings of, I'm not good enough, or I don't know if I'm doing it right, and that's normal, it's part of it. And I feel the important part is to realize that you're having it, and to know that everyone else feels that too sometimes. And yes, if you are brilliant and you have the best grades, you can get to all these careers, but you can also do it if you don't have those amazing grades too. So to get to these careers, it's not just brains. It takes brains, yes. You need to have some, yes, but also perseverance and being creative and just keep trying it. There are some people who are very smart and cannot get there. So it's not just brains. It takes more than that. And same thing, I feel that you will never be, well, the way I feel is that I'm never completely ready, right? We know that women usually look at a job application or they look for an internship, and you can, let's say a summer camp, and they might say like, oh, you need to know this math or whatever, and women usually don't go to those programs because they feel they'll have all the requirements. But for men, they usually apply for those things, even if they don't have all the requirements. So we don't need to fill the list to apply. You don't need to feel completely ready to go for it. Because if you wait to feel ready, you might never do it. The years will go by. So even if you don't feel that you have the complete list, you need to go for it and show them that you had what it takes.
Yes. And we all have it. Thank you. Great advice. That was amazing. Now we're going to open it to the floor here for the students to ask you questions. So does anybody have any questions for our amazing chicas? Okay. Come on down. Come on down.
Yeah.
All right.
If you guys want to do the career that you guys have right now, what other career would you guys like to do?
Yeah, if you didn't have this career right now, what other career would you have? Great question. And you're from what school? Calabasas. So what?
So I feel if I would have stayed in Mexico, I think I would be a lawyer. I would have been a lawyer just So I wouldn't have been a lawyer, but if I had the option to look at different careers, and I mean, it sounds bad, but actually I really look at how much they're gonna pay me. Because my time is worth a lot, and I wanna travel. And yes, it sounds ambitious and shallow, but that's what I want, right? And I feel like you need to find your priority. You need to find something that you like. And so probably I would have a medicine. But you know, and right now the thing is that right now you mentioned mining, and you mentioned all the things you do. I was thinking like, oh, mining would have been good. So it's hard to make a decision. It took me so many years. I graduated at 27 just because I was trying so many things, and eventually I have to make up my mind. Yeah. Sorry, my answers are too long.
No, they're great. What career would you have, Ale? If it wasn't this one that you have.
I think I would have to go for finance or something related to that. I do love math. I want math in my life, so I think if it wasn't something related to technology, it would be something related to math at least. So finance.
Great. Thank you.
I would say, well, when I was at the U of A, I was trying to double major at the same time, and I really liked the other major. It was Spanish with translation interpretation. I like to speak more in Spanish, and I really enjoyed translating. I think that's also a really important job to have. There's so many people that might speak English but don't understand it, or they can't speak it at the level that they're trying to communicate. So I think I would be doing that.
Great, thank you. Great answers. So you see, even if they didn't go into this career field, they would definitely look into something else. We have options, right? We have options that we can all choose to go, what path, what career journey we want to go to. Does anybody have another question? All right. All right. Wow, there's a lot of questions. Tell us your name and what school you're coming from, and then ask the question, okay?
Itzel Lopez, I'm from Mundi Middle School. What have you guys made that's related to technology?
What have you made that is related to technology?
So you know how you haven't had the experience yet, but once you get older, have you heard La Señora de las Plantitas? Yeah, right, like the lady of the plants. Well, I'm that one. Once you get older, I don't know, I think it's age, you just get into plants, and I love my plants. So I have, I grow tomato, tomatillo, peppers, spinach, raspberries, asparagus, you name it, I grow it. And it's like, okay, so I can have a container where I have my plants, and I have to water them every day, every other day. I also have 2 daughters, I have a home, I have a full-time job. And then I thought, you know what? I'm gonna build a water reservoir in my containers so I can water the plants once a week or every 2 weeks. So then I went to Home Depot and I got a container, the one that you use for putting your Christmas stuff. And then I took some drainage pipe and I put the drainage pipe like that. And then I put some the tornado. Okay, good, I'm glad. So then you have the container. The container can have holes in the bottom, right? Because the water is going to get out from that. So you put the pipes at the bottom. So that's where your water is going to be resting. And then on top of the pipes, you put fabric for gardening, and then you put your soil. Now, on the side, you make a hole that is lower than the pipes, so that the water doesn't touch the soil, because then the roots of the plant will rotten and they will die. So then, and also besides that hole, you put also a tube that goes all the way to the bottom, so you put water there. And then when the reservoir is full, the water will start draining from the hole. And then a piece of that fabric goes all the way to the bottom, so you put dirt, so that dirt absorbs the water up and waters your plants. So then, several things with that. One is that the roots never rotten so that your plants don't die, because I also love to kill plants, yes, but I try not to. And the other thing is that when you water the plants on the top, the plants that are small and fragile, if they have water, they get more funguses and more infections. So water them from the roots is better for them. And the fact that I water them every 2 weeks is great, and I don't waste as much water. So all of that, you get it, like, I feel like part of that you get it at school, right? In school you take all these classes that teach you to be creative and think about, like, I have this problem, how can I solve it? Ooh, I can go to the store and find all these things. And then it's really fun. You will love technology.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you, thank you. You have
It's not that fun. My last year in college, I built a robotic arm. I didn't went for mechatronics because of the sound of the robotic arm. A lot. So I built my own from scratch, all the mechanical and all the coding stuff. And after that, when I graduated, I spent like 3 years coding these robotic arms. So I love technology. I think it's really fun. And I think these STEAM careers are not related like with a specific degree. It's more related like with this analytical thinking. When you are working in technological stuff, you will find like you have this innovative and problem-solving approach, and they're going to see your plants and they're going to say, how can I water those to make them live, or something like that. But, well, in my case, it was a robotic arm.
awesome. Thank you.
I have one that I share with my siblings. We built a computer the size of a credit card. It's called the Raspberry Pi. And so we built like some games on it and stuff. So that's
Wow.
and it was fun.
With your siblings, yeah. Thank you so much. So, I have no more time for questions because guess what? You guys have to go to your breakouts, but let's give these amazing ladies a big round of applause. This is amazing. Thank you so much. I think we got a lot of awesome information and advice. Hold on. Wait, hold on. But before we leave, can we do the wave really quick from this side to this side? I know Mr. V wants to do the wave with us, right? All right, let's do the wave really quick. Get you pumped up for your breakout. So let's go from here. All the way to hear the wave, okay? Ready? All right, 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, I need one more time. That was too late. 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right, great job, guys. Let me pass it to Mr. Young, and he will let you give you instructions on what you to do next. Thank you so much.
All right, while you're taking the pictures, everybody look at the cameras, you have various cameras. Speaking
Cerrando,
I'm gonna go pee before I do anything.